All right, how's it going? My name is Dylan Sway. I'm here to record my presentation for my business model, which is MoveMate. That being said, this is actually a business that I'm currently working on, and I don't think that's the title or the business name that I'm going to roll with. But it's what I submitted, so I went ahead and stuck with the theme. But I'll touch on that in a little bit. So MoveMate is essentially the idea of having affordable moving labor for students, renters, or even just local families that need help with the moving service. Because everybody knows moving can be hard, it can be difficult, it can be stressful, and at the current pricing that most places offer, it's not cheap. So, what are the pain points or the problems that most people need help with? Well, students tend to not have a lot of disposable income. They already got to pay their rent, their gas, their groceries. Um, Paying for a full service move is not usually something that is even feasible for them unless their parents are planning on helping out. Um, that being said, college students, especially when it comes to like your friends, they are not always super reliable. And even if they're there to help, a lot of times they don't have as much experience with moving, especially in a professional sense. So things can get broken. Townhomes often have those stairs that go up this way, quick turn, up the other way. That makes it very difficult for a lot of these bigger pieces. You know, Pieces get broken, walls get damaged, security deposits get lost. It's not something that you want unexperienced people doing. And I have over a year of professional moving experience with two men in a truck, which is what brought me to this idea in the first place. But in addition to that, I have been doing my own full service moves for the past year and a half now. Um, it's just only in the last 6 months have I been taking it more and more seriously. Um, so there's a lot of different competitors that I could put myself up against. One of them being my former employers, two men in a truck. U-Haul also offers different options as far as moving. Obviously, you can rent a truck, but they offer their own program where they have other movers involved in it. And there's not uh, there's not a huge screening process for that. So it can be hit or miss with the help you get. Um, Friends or family are helpful. They're cheap. A lot of times they're free. You might just buy them some food or something. Um, but it's hard to get people's schedules to line up. And it kind of comes with the same thing with friends. They might not know what they're doing. Things can get damaged. And it can become more expensive than it was intended to be. I'm gonna fly through this because I know you said 5 minutes max. Um, my services are going to be affordable, they're going to be convenient, and they're going to be trustworthy. I have the professional experience. I've done this a lot. I work with other people's schedules, and I always beat the price of a professional moving company. And this is historically speaking because I actually just did a move for a friend yesterday. Um, so a big part of what I'm aiming for is college students, just helping them out. And those are some of the less profitable moves when it comes to total revenue, but also people who have simple apartments, one, two, maybe even three bedrooms, things with stairs and elevators that pose more of a challenge. I have a lot of experience with that, so I'm probably better than, your friend options. And I have moved local families. 3 weeks ago, I was moving one of my regulars from the bar, which is where I get a lot of my leads from. I helped them move a three-bedroom house, took about 7 hours. Me and my partner ended up actually splitting the revenue 50-50, and it was $600, so 300 a piece. Came out to be about $42 an hour. I need to go a little quicker. So I do want to start making some flyers, put them around the school, put them around the restaurant, because I work at the underground right now. I'm looking to get Meta glasses and get a Instagram, a Facebook page, and maybe even a website. And then I want to come with like a Google Forms where people can fill out all their information, send it to me, and that I can easily build quotes for them. And then, obviously I want to have the best customer service possible. I kind of just covered this with the Meta glasses. I'd be able to make clips while I'm doing moves in order to uh, have actual like visual proof of the quality of moves that I do, how I secure everything. I have my own moving pads, shrink wrap, um, dollies, ratchet straps, bungee cords, rope, all pretty much anything you need for a move. I already own that equipment. Um, so the revenue streams is, pretty straightforward. It's the actual moves themselves. Um, right now, I've been quoting off the job, not based off the hour. But I think an hourly rate would make people feel more at peace. Right now, I've been doing quotes because then, there's an agreed upon price, everything's said and done. But sometimes things go longer, sometimes things go quicker. And I think people would be more comfortable knowing that they're paying for exactly what they're getting. And I never am one to try to encourage people to take their time on the moves. Obviously, I'd rather you take your time, do it right. But that being said, I also do not believe it's smart to run up the clock. I think that's just uh, bad customer service, bad intentions, bad business. Um, but key activities. So that's one thing I need to work on is my booking and estimates. I have about 3 to 4 people who I trust to work with me that have worked with me. I always try to be early. I wrap everything, and I always tell people treat the equipment as if it's yours. Do the best that you can. You don't want to break your own stuff, so you don't want to treat someone else's as if it's disposable. Um, and I have the professional moving experience, so I try to do my best to train whoever's working with me to move the way that I want them to move, not just hey, get this on the truck. No, there's a way to go about packing it. There's a way we go about lifting it. There's call outs, you take your time. When you're going up a step, you tell somebody. If you're going to set down, you give them a heads up. Um, and then just for the sake of time, I'm going to kind of fly through this, but you can see your key partners, your key resources. I skipped one. Cost structure, most of it is always going to be labor, pretty much paying whoever is there helping me because it usually the way it's played out is it's myself and one other person. I've been paying about 40, 40, 20, which I'm going to restructure that, but I get about 40% of the revenue. They get about 40% of the revenue. I set 20% aside to go towards all the expenses because shrink wrap isn't cheap, or it's not as cheap as I feel it should be, being that it's just a bunch of plastic. But I need more moving pads. I would like to get a second dolly. And there's a specific type of lifting straps for bigger things like a piano. Have not had to move one on my own yet, but that's not something you freehand move. Um, and I am not yet legally insured. These are all handshake deals. So insurance is something that when this begins to take off more, I have to look into and I have to do properly. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much the basic rundown of the business that I have as of right now. I plan on expanding it, but this is a actually real time, real life business venture. I want to say I'm right around 2,800 in revenue in the past 3 months, but that's where the bulk of my moves have came from. I have one more coming up for $800. It's a 3 bedroom house in Flowery Branch, moving to Dahlonega, but I have to do that in 2 stages. So we're loading one day, letting the stuff sit in a U-Haul because they don't get access to the new place till the day after. So, but thank you for your time. I'm sorry if I went over a little bit.